Mala beads are one of the most popular accessories these days. You can make your own using stretch cord and just a few simple beads. I'll show you how right now. Most mala bead bracelets include 27 beads. That is an important number in the Buddhist faith that the mala beads are based on. So you'll need 27 beads that are all the same shape, all the same general materials. I'm using wooden beads here. And an 8mm bead seems to work out well for a bracelet length. So you'll need 27 beads. You'll also need what's called a guru bead. Now the guru bead is a helpful reminder for where the bracelet begins and ends. So as someone is actually, if they were using the mala beads to practice their mantras, they would actually count the beads, and then when they end up back at the guru bead, they know they're done with one series. So you'll need to choose a larger bead for your guru bead so that if you were closing your eyes, for example, you would definitely know that it's different from the other beads. And then I also use another stop bead just because I like the way they look together. In terms of, and you'll also need some stretch cord. I use about 12 inches. The bracelet itself won't be 12 inches long, but you want a lot so that you can easily make a knot later and you're not really struggling to do that. In terms of equipment, a bead reamer sometimes comes in handy with these size beads and you're using a cord like this. Sometimes they don't go all the way in. I'll show you how to use that. That just kind of opens the hole a little bit for you. You also need some small scissors. A beading needle, a flexible beading needle is ideal. You have a larger hole on these so you can fit a wider, like 1mm cord inside of it. And then a really fun, fairly new tool is what's called a bead bug. You could also use just your average, everyday office binder clip if you'd prefer. No problem, you don't have to buy these. But these are fun because it has a little spring and you can just clip your cord right in there. So let's start with that. We'll go ahead and clip our cord into the spring coil, also known as the bead bug. Then we're going to string our needle right there on the cord. And then you just simply go ahead and string all 27 of your beads right there. You don't even have to push them down. You just slide them on, and they go right on. If you do run into one that sticks and gives you a little trouble, all you need to do is take your bead reamer. You can get it at any jewelry supply store, online, even Amazon.com, something like that. They'll have these. You just give a little bit of pressure, and they open right up. These are wooden beads, as I said before, and so they have sort of a resin or an acrylic coating, and that sometimes gets stuck in the bead hole. So you can just open that way. All right, I'm going to set this aside. I've already strung 27 on this strand here. You can see bead bugs come in a couple different sizes. They're handy. So I got my 27 beads here. Now I'm going to add my guru bead. As I mentioned before, that's to help us remember where the beginning and end of our strand is. So in this case, you can, might be easier to tie a knot here. Whoops, tie a knot here to get started. And not cooperating. Okay, just a quick overhead knot here. There you go. Okay, now you have your two strands. You're going to feed both of those up through the end of your guru bead here. Okay. Then we're going to add sort of our stop bead here to give us just a nice finish. And my second tail is giving me some trouble. Okay, guy, come on. Okay, awesome. All right, now the trick here, because this bead hole is a little bit large, you want to make a good size knot here. And then we're also going to glue it just to make sure it stays in place. All right, so in this case, I did one simple knot, and then I'm going to do an overhand knot holding both strands. Well, I guess I'm not going to do that. All right, we're going to do a double overhand knot. You can see all of that in the book. I give you detailed instructions on how to tie an overhand knot. and a double overhand knot. The difference between the two knots is just the finish knot is larger. And in this case, we want a large knot to keep that bead in place. All right. Okay, so when you're done with that, you are going to add a dab of hypo cement. I think that just holds everything in place a little bit better. You can see here on the finished piece, the knot is done here. It's glued with the hypo cement, and then we just trim the knot right there to trim the strands off the knot and to finish your bracelet. You can just string it on, and you have a super easy, flexible, stretchy bracelet that can fit just about anyone.